Hey guys, Leanne here on GradysMom. I wanted to do a sit down video today to talk specifically about my lunches that I pack for Matt. I get a lot of questions specifically about those videos. So I wanted to go ahead, chit chat a little bit about some of the questions that I get and tell you guys kind of more about my process, maybe share some tips as far as packing lunches go. So I have been packing Matt's lunch for almost, I think like about 12 years now, since before we got married. When we first met, we both worked in mortgages, so we would just eat out like for lunch. We would just go out for lunch, and even like when we first started dating, because we worked at the same company, we would just go out for lunches. But we actually moved in together pretty quickly. Within like less than 6 months of dating, we actually moved in together and we had an apartment. And then going from, he was living with his parents previously and I was living with a roommate in another apartment. But when that lease was up, we moved in together, and that's when the whole concept of packing lunches came into play, because having more bills, obviously, we kind of realized how much we were spending on lunches. And we still weren't that great about it back then. We were, you know, pretty young, like I think we were about 23. But anyways, what really sparked the whole lunch thing is shortly after we moved in together, my husband did a career change. So the mortgage industry was kind of starting to go downhill. As most of you guys know, in 2008 it bombed. But when we moved in together in the very end of 2005, that's when the mortgage industry was kind of just starting to go downhill. So I actually switched professions, and so did my husband, and he started back, I think in 2006, working construction. He previously had no construction experience, so he literally started from the bottom, like, you know, a laborer. And in those 12 years, he's worked his way up from a laborer all the way up to like a foreman and project manager, which he does now. My husband never went to college, it just wasn't for him. So it was a huge pay cut. So back when we were both working in mortgages, he was making a little bit more than me. And then when I switched careers and he switched careers, I was making much more than him. Because again, he had no experience in construction and had to literally start low man on the totem pole. So with that came the need to figure out how to save some money. So I, you know, started with food, and I said, let's start packing our lunches. The job that I was working at when I switched careers, I was working in someone's home as like a house manager, personal chef, event planning. I was running a household, a very large household that did a lot of events. So luckily my lunches were really covered because I was able to work in the kitchen a lot at their home, and I was able to pretty much eat anything that the family ate. So my lunches were covered, but my husband was spending like $10 or $15 a day on getting lunch, grabbing a coffee, maybe grabbing a snack or something, and it really was adding up. And since he took a huge pay cut, I think he took about a $30,000 a year pay cut. I started packing his lunches back in 2006, so 12 years now. And back then I packed pretty similar to what I pack him now, like a sandwich or a wrap. Sometimes 2 sandwiches depending on how long his days were, some drinks, some snacks, that kind of thing. So I've been packing his lunches for a long time. I don't want to get too far off on the topic. I just want to give you a little backstory. So in those 12 years, I've sort of mastered what works for me. I know different things work for all of us. I get a lot of questions about, do I plan out what I'm going to pack for lunch? Do I do any prep? Do I pack the night before? So I'm going to address some of these things now. I always pack his lunches in the morning. I actually wake up early. It kind of sucks, to be honest, to get up early to do something like that. And if you already pack lunches or you want to start packing lunches, you might be in the same boat where you have to wake up earlier if you're packing for your husband or your boyfriend or your kids or both. So yeah, it does kind of stink. If you want to pack the lunches in the morning, you do have to get up earlier. So I make sure I always have, usually guys, Sundays are my day that I do some kind of prep. So not only prep for like meals, non-lunch meals, but I try to do every Sunday some kind of lunch prepping. So Sometimes that could be on Sundays, I'll make a batch of chicken salad, or I'll make a batch of egg salad, or I'll make a batch of tuna salad. Sometimes I'll hard boil like a dozen eggs, and then not only can I pack those for his lunch, but I can grab them as well during the week. Sometimes I'll make hard-boiled eggs and I'll chop them up and put them on a salad. I always try to do some kind of lunch prep, even if it's just one simple thing, like egg salad, chicken salad, tuna salad, the hard-boiled eggs. Sometimes I'll cut up a whole bunch of veggies and I'll portion them out in bags, and I'll put like ranch or peanut butter. So I'll have a couple little things portioned. Lately I've been going to Trader Joe's and buying like dried fruit, dried nuts, and making little trail mix bags, as you guys have seen in my recent videos. So I'll try to do something like that. Sundays, I'll always kind of do a visual inventory to make sure I have plenty of different breads. I always like to have at least 1 to 2, sometimes 3 different breads. Breads freeze really well. Bagels, rolls, things like that, you can throw them in the freezer. I like the wraps, like the tortilla, you know, the flavored wraps. We like the spinach wraps. We like the tomato basil wraps. You can find those either in your bread aisle or sometimes at your actual deli counter. They'll have a display with, at least where I shop. At your deli counter, sometimes they'll have like a little display in front of the deli case with different wraps. Obviously, if you have a bagel shop, you can go to the bagel shop and get some bagels. If you want to do bagel sandwiches, they freeze really well. So Sunday's my day when I do not only the little prep, again, making like a salad. Sometimes I'll make a pasta salad, guys, or something like that. And I do the visual scan to make sure I have my breads for the week. If I don't have cold cuts, I make sure I have some kind of a salad. Like I mentioned, tuna, chicken, egg salad. I'll make sure I have drink options because I do give my husband a water cooler every day, year round. But I'll make sure I have things to drink, whether that is Gatorade or iced tea or some kind of smaller bottles, even juice boxes. We do a lot of Capri Suns. So I'll make sure I have all those things. If for whatever reason I don't and I'm lacking something, I will have to run out to the store. I usually just go to like a local grocery store and grab just the things that I need to get me through. But I don't really prep anything like the night before. I just, again, Sundays, make sure I have my ducks in a row. I try not to give him the same exact sandwich every week, meaning I try not to give him one week all turkey or all roast beef. But, you know, there are weeks when it's crazy, and unfortunately sometimes he does have turkey every day, or he might have, you know, if I make a batch of egg salad, he might have egg salad 3 days that week, and that's fine. He's still grateful for it. He enjoys it. I pretty much control like what he's gonna have because you know, when you're packing someone's lunch, you know what they like, right? And you know what they don't like. So I obviously make sure I have plenty of different snacks that he likes. I try to do a healthy balance of like things like a granola bar with chips or a trail mix. And then I try to mix in things like fresh fruit, cut up veggies with dip. My husband is not a huge like hummus fan, but if he were, I would pack like hummus and crackers or vegetables. He likes things like cheese sticks. I mean, you guys know from watching my videos. So if you're packing lunches for someone, or you're just starting to kind of get into that routine to save money, or just to be a little bit healthier, because even though a sandwich and chips and a juice and a cheese stick isn't the healthiest thing, you do have to we all have to admit it's a lot healthier and cheaper than going to get fast food every single day, which is what 99% of what my husband's crew does. They go get pizza, they get Taco Bell, they get McDonald's. Sometimes they'll grab like Subway. And not only is it not as healthy, it's expensive. I've talked to a few of his coworkers and they said they spend like $15, sometimes $20 a day, guys. These are grown men doing manual labor. And they don't, you know, their wives don't pack lunches or send water coolers or anything. So a lot of them have told me between lunches and going and buying like Gatorade or bottled water, they can spend upwards of $15 to $20 per day. The lunches I pack for my husband are much less expensive than that. The water cooler helps a lot. I get a lot of questions about his water cooler. I obviously don't have it right now because he's at work with it, but it is the Bubba brand, which is a very popular brand for like coffee mugs and travel mugs and water, portable water cups. You can usually get them year round in like the camping section. at like Walmart or Target. They always have like a year-round kind of outdoor section, and usually they'll have a variety of coolers and water coolers there in different sizes. My husband's is about a gallon. It's like a gallon size cooler, and it's just very cut and dry. I wash it probably once a week or as needed. If it gets gross, obviously I wash it. But usually Fridays I wash his cooler, I wash his water cooler, and right in the sink I just scrub it down with a soapy sponge, rinse it out really well, let it air dry, and then it's nice and fresh for the next week. The water cooler, I've showed it in videos, guys. I just fill it up halfway with ice, and then I add the water like maybe about 2 inches above the ice, and then throughout the day it'll melt and be really cold all day. As far as cups, I usually just send him in with like a sleeve of the Solo cups, which lasts him forever because he'll use the same cup all day. Sometimes a couple days. He's a guy. Guys don't really care. But just if you want to get into packing lunches, have a game plan. Have a vessel, meaning a cooler or a lunch bag or something that you can pack the lunch in. Have ice packs. Obviously everybody's situation is different. If you are packing for somebody that works an office job that has a refrigerator, you obviously don't need the ice packs. My husband works outside year round, so especially in the summer he needs his food to be kept cold, or else it'll be spoiled by the time he eats it because it'll be sitting in the sun all day. So I do a big ice pack on the bottom, smaller ice packs on the side. I have a whole system where I put the drinks down, the sandwich, the things that need to be cold are on the ice pack, and then things like a granola bar or chips that don't need to be cold can just kind of rest on top. It's pretty much, for me, a no-brainer because I've been doing it for so long. But again, if you're somebody that's just starting to get into this, it really does save money, but it does take a bit of dedication as far as getting up early, making sure you have everything. Maybe if it helps you to write things down, grab a notebook, grab a pen, write things down before maybe Monday of what you need to purchase for lunches, or just even to get you through the first few days before you can get to the market. All of our situations are different, and again, just try to do a little bit of variety and try to go by what the things that they really enjoy. Of course, if they can heat things up, pack leftovers. A lot of times I will, like on Sunday if we're grilling chicken, or even Saturday, guys, I'll do extra chicken for chicken salad, or I'll do extra chicken sometimes to slice up and put on a salad. It's really easy to get Tupperware, you put some lettuce, all different veggies that they like. You can do, if you have like leftover steak, you can slice up the steak, put it right on top. Use what's in your fridge, things that you have that are cold, that can be kept cold. If you've had pizza the night before, pack a slice of pizza. My husband loves cold pizza. I love cold pizza. If I make tacos, you guys have seen it, I make a little extra taco meat if I can, and usually if I don't, there's some left, I'll put a little taco meat on a bed of lettuce with some olives, some tomatoes, a little salsa. Really just use what you already have. If you know you're going to be cooking something specific and you can make a little extra, and you can use something from that meal as part of lunch the next day, do it. If we do barbecue chicken sometimes, if I don't use it for chicken salad, I will sometimes give him a piece of cold barbecue chicken. Just sort of use your imagination. Of course, if you're packing for somebody that has the option to heat something up, great. You have an advantage right there because you can put it in a Tupperware, they can heat it up, it's a nice hot meal, but my husband just doesn't have that option, which is why it's a little more challenging because I have to find things that can be kept cold and eaten cold throughout the day. I think that's really all I wanted to cover. I just wanted to come on and just give you guys some tips. Get yourself, if you're a newbie lunch packer, make sure you've got the cooler, the water cooler if needed. Grab some TJ Maxx, Marshall's, Home Goods, guys, has really good like little containers, and you guys have seen me use them a bunch of times. You can put fruit. I use a little plastic, I think it's the brand is Sistema. I put fruit in them. I've put, if I need like a condiment, like if I'm doing some chips and I want to pack salsa, grab some little plastic Tupperware, or little containers for fruit, for condiments, for dip, for little treats if you want to put like a little chocolate or something. Grab your containers, plan things out. Once you get into the groove, it'll be much easier and it won't seem as stressful, just like anything else in life that we do that's new. And just try to see what works. Maybe you don't want to pack lunch every day, and maybe you want to pack lunch a couple times a day, or three times a week, or a couple times a week. You know what I'm saying? Just do what works for you. My husband sometimes has like work meetings where they do breakfast, so certain days are going to be lighter. Just really go with the flow. Don't stress yourself out about it. If it does help you to pack stuff the night before, that's fine too. I just choose to pack in the morning because it's what I've been doing for so many years. But if it's easier for you to pack it at night and just, you know, make the sandwich at night and have everything ready at night, and the next morning just throw it into a bag or a cooler with an ice pack, then if that works for you, by all means do it. Make it easier on you if that's the case. So I hope this helped you guys and answered some of your questions. If you have any other questions, lunch related, leave them down below and I will try my best to respond to each one and answer all your questions. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you very soon.